the finished video, but for those of you that were here around, glad you could listen to it anyway. Good morning to Poi, Bones, and TW for joining us. Anyone else that happens to be lurking in the chat, I know not everybody likes to actually chat. They just like to listen in, kind of lurk, which is perfectly fine. Today we are on Jabbit EU. This is Bubbles Starborn's community plot, The Beauty of Nature. Some of you may be familiar with that name. We have toured their plots in the past. From what I could tell, none of these are actually ones we've seen before. But they do a lot of commission work. They'll like build something for a friend or a guildmate or stranger, you know, depending on how busy they are. But they usually sign it. They'll have like bubbles or something, signature, and we've seen a few of those in the past. So we're familiar with their style as far as knowing that they like a lot of custom built work. And I'm hoping that we'll find some really good tidbits here. Now, I don't know if this specifically follows, I didn't get the feeling that it was like a seasonal kind of thing, because we've seen some where they like section it off like spring, summer, winter, fall. There is a winter area, not just the starter part, but you see how it extends on past. There's two plots that's kind of in the snowy area, and then the rest of them are more kind of like a summery, beachy type of feel to it. So I don't think it's like multiple seasons. It's just a natural beauty kind of thing. So as for the entrance, be aware. I don't know what item this is. It looks like a sleeping bag to me, but I'm really not sure. You can see you kind of sink down in it. I thought it was like a mistake because I was trying to get up on top of it, but it's just one of those like kind of a hollow item. And even part of the snow here is a little. But these, of course, are the Starcon Basin stepping stones. Great for paths, even just if you're wanting to build up a rock wall or canyon, those work great. I prefer them for paths because you get multiple stones in one clump, and you can really adjusting the rotation and the size. It really lends itself really well to just kind of a mishmash of random rocks, as opposed to putting down individual stones, which we used to have to do. Icicles, I think, or glaciers. I think it's icicles though, because they're pretty thin. And then I think the glacier parts are the giant wall that you see here. So we're just going to follow along again, since there's no specific path forcing me to go a different way. I'm just going to go around counterclockwise again. I don't know why I do it that way. That's just the way I started it, and I'm just sticking to it. So I'm going to follow the path here, but you can see I could have just went straight across. You can see there's a lot of the snowy hills. Again, those items, that particular item that you can get directly from the housing vendor is an excellent way of playing with different elevations on your ground, because if you turn that particular item upside down, it reflects whatever ground cover you have. So if it was sandy, if you had an upside down snowy hill, lifted it up, it'll look sandy on that bottom side. And that's how people are playing around with different elevations. Another item that does that is the massive umbrella tree. If you turn it upside down, it also mirrors. And then of course you have these, which are the Protostar Insta Hills that you can get from the cash shop as a set. They do the same thing. So yeah, it's fantastic items that allow builders to really add a lot of different contours and shaping to their landscaping, which in the beginning it was like everything was perfectly flat, but now you can really build it up a lot. There were items that people could kind of fake in, like I remember one that did some rolling grassy hills, and basically it was just these hay piles covered with little patches of grass. they did a fantastic job, but it took a lot of materials to kind of fake that in to make it look believable. But yeah, so over here we are on Bella Starborn's plot called the Cozy Home. You can see that they're using some of the newer decor from the Sandcastle decor pack from the cash shop. So you see that all around here. They've added on a lot of like huts and towers and things. And of course we have this little oceany seaside beach look. The animation that you see that makes it look like the water, the waves are coming in, that's just some of the newer waterfalls. They have that animation at the top and the bottom both, I think. And depending on how you lay that in, it can really lend itself well to making it look like a bigger water feature than that. So obviously the waterfall part is underneath. They have that bottom bit or top part showing so that it looks a little better. This here comes from the underwater set, I think. It's one of the decor sets from the cash shop. Maybe the surfing board one. I don't remember exactly. The stone bits here make it kind of like a stony beach. That's Draken fencing, I think. I don't know for sure what they're using for the actual water. It looks like multiple items. It's not the exotic silver chalice, which a lot of people like to use. We've seen Maddie use that. I think Poise used it. Uh, Bones probably too. I think all of us at some point has used it. The reason I can tell that is because you can see how I'm kind of floating above the water, whereas in the exotic silver chalice, you're more sunken down into it. It gives the illusion that there's a depth to the water. And of course, the camera doesn't dive underneath it. I'm not sure what is being used exactly. Maybe it's another type of goblet or something that they've decided to use the bottom of, but whatever it is, it's still pretty and everything. It's just got a different effect to it. You can see that they're using the tentacled plants as like goldfish, not goldfish, jellyfish. I don't know why I said goldfish. Look at the little poofy bits. I think these are desert plants or something, and they're using them as like coral, which is really nifty. Um, Notice this here for this little island. Let me back up a little bit so the barrier doesn't show up. It's a combination of the Draken fencing and then the treasure piles. And I think these are specifically the Dragon Hoard ones. The treasure pile, the regular one, is the one that has like the vases and other kind of treasure tidbits like a chest and some other things. The Dragon Hoard, I think it's called, um, treasure pile or gold pile, that just has the pile of gold, and that's what it's. So it looks pebbly, and of course they use the color shifting to remove the really bright gold look to it. But I thought that was a clever. You could probably get away with using the hay piles as well, or they could have just used the upside down snowy hills and kind of changed how the elevation is. But I think they wanted it to be a little bit more like mounds. Um, Obviously, they could have went with the Protostar Insta Hills to get those mounds as well. But I think this is a lot more clever use of this particular item because, again, it has that texture of like it's sandy pebbles, a mixture of maybe shells and things like that. So I thought this is really nice. Excuse me. Talking is not going to help my throat issues at all. Okay. Just backtracking a little bit because there's details that I've kind of Goldfish. I'm having trouble talking apparently. Got a little bit of a little kite thing going on here. I don't see a string, so I guess it's just a loose one. Maybe it's significant in meaning to the builder for some reason. I don't know, but I thought this was kind of cute. It's basically triangle pieces, 2x4s, and then of course extensive use of the color shifting to kind of dress it up a little bit. Let's see, let's go back over here to the first little hut thingy. It's a little bit of a tiki bar. Notice the parasols are the hay piles, and then they're using what looks to be the mop handles as the support stick thingy, and then kind of just hiding it as part of the table works there. Others have used the regular bowl, the one that's kind of got the green part in the bottom of it. I call it the turtle shell bowl because the back side of it, the bottom of it, looks kind of like a turtle shell to me. A lot of people like to use those. I've seen some use some of the Oran windows and then add like overgrowth along the edges to kind of make it look like a more of a nature-y type of parasol. There's a lot of different options you can. Plates, I used the dinner plates as well, parasols. So you can see this is mostly 2x4s for this building, and of course the tiki roofs. The string lights, those I believe are from the lot decor pack. It comes with like the Kurg and a bunch of chests and such. Of course, notice the boardwalks being used as pathing. Notice how they're sucking in just a little bit to make it look like the sand has bled through. This little hut is nice. It's using the tiki bars, multiples of those to make up the building itself and the countertop. And then inside, you can see, boy, like really shining on half of my screen here. The beach balls and the surfboards, these all come from decor packs off the cash shop. Not actually seen these up close. They're pretty cool looking, but I don't know. They're so specific in the coloring and the shape and everything. I'm not sure what all you could make out of those. I'm positive there's builders that could come up, but I just wouldn't want to have to spend to get multiples and multiples of them to make a design out of them. I mean, they're a nice leaf shape, so I'm sure you can make some pretty flower shapes with them, but I don't know. For me, I'm too cheap to spend on that kind of thing. Sounds awful when I say it that way, but that's just how I am. I prefer to use the standard housing stuff. I don't go out of my way to buy much. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to get a good view of this, but you can see there's a hot air balloon up here. I'm gonna kind of cheat. I honestly am not sure what all's being used for the balloon part. I suspect it's dome pieces that have certain designs and they twisted it and then to get the different textures and then uh, recolored it a bit. As you can kind of see the seam right here. but I don't know which way they turned it and everything to get this little almost like checkerboard look to it. This here is one of those Falcon or Draken fire seers pits, whatever you call it. And of course, I think these here, the ropes, are sparking wires just because of the coloring. They're so dark. It's really hard to see though. Can't seem to get my camera just so that you can get close to it. And then of course the feeding trough. Real fun for barrels and such. As far as I know, this is a solid little rock mountain thing. I kind of went all around the edges to see if there was like a hidden little cave part or inside it, but I didn't spot any entrance. So if I missed that, my apologies. Reminds me of my Rapunzel tower for some reason. A little better shot of the hot air balloon. Again, you can see it's domes and then another set of domes for the bottom part to kind of elongate it a little bit instead of making it just a perfect round. Looks more like a balloon. Uh, this is, of course, to behave like the lighthouse. I don't remember the name of this item. I think it's exile something. Very specific there, very helpful. But yeah, again, these little raised areas are perfect for screenshots if you're trying to get overall views of a particular scene. Excuse me. Let's go back to the sandcastle area. I'm pretty confident that most of that is just standalone pieces, the towers, the bridges, the archways, the walls. Um, I don't know if they were able to build this with one set from the cash shop or if it took multiples. Honestly, I'm not sure. Um, it's like I think these are all part of this. But this is something they built in themselves. It's kind of like it gives the idea of it if like an oversized aquarium type thing built into this. You got the corals and the critters and the seaweed bits. A lot of these come from that underwater set. Same with like the conch shells and goodies like that. But this is where you would port in if you come to this plot on this as an individual plot. This is where you'd land instead of over here for the community itself. Now I couldn't find an entrance to a bunker house or anything here. I think it would be somewhere here, I think. So you can tell since there's white poofs, this is like an oversized upside down snowy hill that's reflecting the ground underneath. We're not actually at the actual ground uh, base, the bottom. So they've covered it up, which is, you know, their prerogative. Notice the water here. These are the older waterfalls, but they recolored them to a brighter aqua blue, green coloring. Usually they're like a yucky gray. 2x4s for the staircase here. Lovely double staircase there. Most of the house, I think, is either curved walls or the cylinders. See that kind of theme throughout. make this nice rounded building, different sections. So like in here is the kitchen. Have like a breakfast bar here. Again, it's the tiki bars. This part here, that's hover part pieces for the shelving. Boardwalk pieces for the cabinetry here. And then playing with the tiki bars again for benches for the breakfast nook here. 2x4s laid across. Thought that was a really cute idea. It's always fun to find different ways of using the same piece of furniture uh, in a new way. Don't want to miss this part here. The delightful bathroom. Notice they're hiding a good portion of it into the wall. I guess it's one way to kind of tone down the ugliness of that particular item. The library, again, a big fave. People use the standard bookshelves, but then cover up the bookshelf part itself and just leave the books exposed. It just makes it look a little cleaner to me, a little bit more, I don't know. I can't think of the word that I want to use, but I prefer it this way than just having the bookshelf itself exposed. It's not that it's a really ugly item, it's just it looks better, especially if you're having multiples like this. It just looks more uniform, I think, or cleaner or something along those. Here we have a little terrarium kind of thing. You got the vent critters. Again, some more of the waterfalls, and then they've just kind of made up this rocky, grassy structure for them to abide in. I like how they've got the TV set into the little tiki mask bit. And of course, this gives us access to the little patio here that I kind of snuck on earlier. Again, same little setup with the parasol. The Barbie, that again comes from the summer decor pack. It includes the little parasol that we saw here. Uh, I think it includes a set of beach towels and the beach balls and things like that. But the little Porky Pig, uh, that is a separate item. I think it's called Too Big on a Spit or something, and they just added it in to make it look like they're roasting the pig on the Barbie. Hey Tobbs, yes it is, but this is specifically just the housing of the game. I don't show any of the actual gameplay as far as the combat and questing and stuff like that. If you're looking for that, you'd have to search up a different streamer for that because I don't really specialize in that part. I play it, but I prefer the housing because it's so customizable. Again, the staircase 2x4s all the way around, very nicely done with the little trim there. Glass panels for the balcony barrier, what do you call it? Again, the parasols with the piles of hay. This piece here, I forget where this comes from, but it's all one piece. I couldn't say. I don't know if it's from a dungeon or a raid reward. This here, I think, is from the Red Moon set, part of the bar. Comes with the bar stools and such like that. 30 hours. Yeah, I know people that have been building their plots for like years and they're still not done. Honestly, I don't think there's such thing as a finished plot. It's always a work in progress because every time something new comes out or another idea pops into somebody's head, uh, they just they have that urge to change things around, that kind of stuff. That's why a lot of us housers are like alt altaholics, because when you get a new idea or you see somebody else's idea and you go, oh, I have something that kind of can go with that, or I can make something that's kind of similar but a little different. Then you need the space. And because like for me, when I first started, it was like I just had my main. I didn't have any alts at all, and I just kind of would wipe the slate clean and start fresh every month or so, and that kind of got a little uh, overworked, uh, tiring to redo it everything from scratch. So I eventually became an alcoholic myself. Hey Matthew, thanks. I appreciate it. Um, so here's a little what do you call this? Not curio cabinet, vanity table for the girls with their makeup and perfumes and stuff. It's basically the tiki bar again, with just a little bit of 2x4s laid on top. If you don't want the sharp edges, I could suggest maybe using the back side of one of the Orin windows. That would give you a flat, round surface. Now, it could be that maybe the curvature isn't quite matched up, but I think because the bar itself is pretty thick, I think you could get away with it. Or even the round table, the one that they use for some of the tables outside at the bar, that would probably work too. Or maybe just even multiples of the bar, just shrunk down a little bit to size it and still get that flat surface if you want. Matching wood and that kind of stuff. This one's been turned into a bed using the beach towels. Again, some color shifting going on. And then the same bar, same piece, got a table, bed, and now a little uh, shelf for clothing. If you're looking for a variety of fabrics and you can't get a hold of the beach towels from the decor shop, or you're not lucky enough to get the folded t-shirts, the kitchen towels are fairly easy to get a hold of. You get those from the Boxing Gym Fab Kit. If you can defeat, I think it's the fourth um, opponent, I think there's like 8 or 10 of them. You can get to the fourth one, then you get what I call the booby prize. It's one of the two dish towels. It's either this one, the striped one, or you can get the one with the little carrot on there, which is my particular fave for various reasons. But there's also the tribal mats. Those are good from the Far Trader fab kit. You can get the flat ones or the rolled ones and then color shift those for different kinds of fabrics. A lot of people like to use the curtains for hanging clothes. I say curtains, that I think there's called drapes in the game. Other fabrics, I'd say probably the I'm trying to think. There's some clothing pieces, like there's the bra, and then there's the socks or stockings. Um, there's of course the judge's hat. But for like folded clothes and stuff, I think the more faves is the tribal mats and the towels. Um, Obviously the beach towels have the patterns and stuff, but again, if you're newer to the game and don't have Omnibit saved up, or you don't want to spend the cash, then yeah, that's probably the uh, the way to go. Honestly, I don't know because I haven't waited a year to do it. I would assume as long as you can get into the game, you should be able to visit a house. Um, Granted, if the house is public, because people can set their properties to private and or neighbors only, that kind of thing. But as long as it's public, which um, all of the places that we stream, at least at the time of streaming, were considered public. I try not to preview private homes because to me it's like being rude to the viewer, saying, well, I can come and visit it and show you a little bit of it like a teaser, but then you don't get to see it yourself. I prefer to just visit public places. That way, if a viewer sees, oh, that's like an awesome plot, I want to see it up close, then they have the ability to go and check it out themselves, which I always encourage because videos and screenshots just do not do these places justice. As much as I like streaming them, I always think it's always better if people go and visit it themselves. Here's the tiki bars again, used as a tub this time. They've got the winding rivers being used for the water. Again, it's a clever way of using the water. You can see it's not actually water deep. It's just a surface thing. And there are some little gaps and stuff, but it's a fave technique used for like pools, fountains, that kind of thing. I think this is a chimney piece. And then, of course, the Chua cups for the handles, which have been recolored to kind of indicate the hot, cold temperatures there. You're wondering about the little um, drink here. That's again from the summer decor pack. Same thing here with the handles, red moon vent, Chua cups, and then the chimney bit again. The little vanity here, that's just a dresser with this bathroom sink sunk in. And I'm not even going to talk about that. Most of you know my feelings on the toilet. I love this part here with the windows. Again, a lot of people kind of steer clear of the curved walls kind of bit. I know a lot of people fussed about the cozy Oran house and the cozy exile house because they had round walls and it was always frustrating for people to build. But I love this part, how they were able to kind of sneak it in and not really having too much trouble with the meshing of the rooms. I mean, even this with the staircase, think of how many 2x4s that required. Okay, I think we've seen all of this building. Hopes too. Are you on Entity or Jabbit? Entity. I'll check it out. Let's see if we can find it. As far as I know, the places stay on even if the person goes inactive, but I honestly can't say for positive. Yeah, Matthew, the communities are pretty crazy. And it's not just for the loner builders either. It's a great opportunity to do some collab work with fellow builders. Um, uh, I know some of those that we visited their communities and they've talked to me about some of the issues. I hesitate to call them problems because it's just a challenge to be able to work with other people in planning and organizing and such, because you have to figure out, okay, who's going to be uh, like the leader of the community, who's going to take care of what part of it they have to decide, like if they're having a running theme throughout the whole build, they've got to decide, okay, who's doing what part. Maybe there's someone that's really great at landscaping, but they're not so keen on the details like furniture and things like that. So maybe it's someone will do the majority of the landscaping and someone else will come right behind them and do the other bits and things like that. And I think that's interesting that people have figured out ways to work with other builders and play to their strengths, so to speak, in choosing what they build and how they build it and making it so that something that someone else can come and add their touches to it to just make it that much better. Now we're getting ready to go into the second plot, but I wanted to show as part of this that's more along the outskirts, the what I call no man's land, the communal part of the community plot. Uh, you can see there's a lot of that stone pathing. Again, there's that huge ice wall that's splitting off the top two plots here. The ice walls like runs along here. and then the summer plots are more the bottom ones. Um, Again, winding river here for this little bit, and then whoops, let me go this way. Can't miss this part. The little wedding scene with carrots of all things. I don't know if they planned that on purpose, but I thought that was cute. So for those of you that are looking for like a little romantic scenery, trying to do a celebration, it doesn't have to be a wedding. It could be a birthday party or something, but they got like the little buffet set out here with the little carrots, some of them with hats. This one's got a, it's actually one of those animal busts, and they've just got it so that the bust itself is inside the head, and they've just got the, to make it look like a little hat. And then of course you have the, if I can get up there, bride and groom. The bride is using, I think it's that vigilant skirt. Like there's a skirt and there's a helmet, and then there's the gear that's on that little like dummy doll thing. It's a couple of new pieces. I think the skirt is actually supposed to be like a tabard thing for the waist, but they're using it as more like a cape kind of deal. And that's her, what do you call it? The veil, with one of those snow flowers stuck in her hair. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cute. The vines that you see, those are from the spring decor pack. That comes with the vine-covered archways, and the fencing. Again, we can craft fencing and archways, but the ones you craft look more ragged and dilapidated because the pieces of the fence are like crooked and they're just not as clean and sharp as these are. These are nice and white picket fence. The only thing people fussed about was this particular piece here where the vines are on the archway. If you make it smaller than this to make it more sized down to your characters, see how oversized it looks in comparison to the height of my Orin here. If you do that, the collision between the vines here makes it so you can't actually pass through. You have to oversize it to make it where you can go through it. Only downside to that particular set, which was unfortunate. Maybe they've fixed it since, but as far as I have seen so far, most everybody has this really big, on purpose because they can't use it as a actual doorway as intended because of the collision of the vines, which is frustrating, but yeah. The spring decor pack also comes with these potted flowers, which is okay. So back to, we had this bottom part stuck on the stones. Like in real life, I get like trip on air. I guess I just could have followed the little path here. Might have been easy. We're already kind of in the second part, which is Dreamy Starborn, I think. No, I don't do the donations and bits part. I don't really. I appreciate the sentiment, but it's not really required. I do this for fun. I don't do that for other stuff, if that's what you're asking. Here is kind of like a little gazebo. They've got the Orin landing pad, and then they've got the little round table. This is the table you get in like the starter kit when you first get your house. Get like a little adventurer's builder pack, and the table is one of those. It used to be my least favorite table, but as I see more and more use of it and people's clever ideas of how to hide those long legs and stuff, and using it in fun ways, I hate it less. Let's say it that way. These, of course, are the Orin fence posts, I think. Of course, they've got some of the vines that come with the spring decor pack, but if you don't want to have that or can't get a hold of it, you could probably get away with just using some overgrowth to add a little bit of greenery, or some of the other kind of flowers like the teal flowers would work really nice. And of course, this is a solid dome. If you want to hang a light and would prefer it to be a little bit more open, just use a hollow dome instead. And then a curved wall, of course, for the little balcony barrier there. Again, a lot of these flowers here are from the spring decor pack, but then notice the, I can't remember what these called. I just called them the purple flowers, but they've like recolored some of them. Nice. Okay, I'm just gonna double check, make sure there's nothing out here that I've missed. As you can see, there's a whole little water feature, a little winding river here going through. And you can see those, I call them like the peacock flowers. Those come from the underwater decor pack. I don't know if it's meant to be like a it looks feathery to me instead of like a coral water plant. I like how they're using the floating glow lamps as like almost like little not gnat bugs, but maybe like will-o-wisp or something. Now, if you want something a little bit more less solid than this, again, you could probably get away with using the buoyant blue crystals. Those are always fun. You just have to hide the crystal part and you get that smoky, sparkly blue stuff. Let's see. Don't want to forget this tower over here. This, I forget what this dais part is from. I don't know if it's Eldon or some of the taurine bits. I think it's Eldon because of the way this here is. This looks like an Eldon thing. The stairs are pillars, and the pillar are pillars. Just multiples, and they're just slightly rotated to give it that more of a column, like a Roman column look. And then you have the same dais as the base. This part here too. Get up there, Missy. Get stuck on the stairs. That's smooth. And then of course the glass panels. It's like a little taxi thing. They've got the little boat ship coming in. The boat ship airship thingy itself, I forget what this piece is. It's like some kind of compressor or processor thing. And then they've added windmill item onto it. That's why this actually kind of just stays still. It doesn't move up and down as this does because it's two different pieces. A cute little thing. This could turn into, could probably make like an observatory, have like some, like remove one of these windows and have like the telescope sticking out. This could even be fashioned in a way to make it look more like a lighthouse. You don't want to use this. Just make this, raise this up maybe and have a different section so it's not solid in the middle. Something along those lines. An outpost kind of tower with some equipment, like guns and things if you want to do that kind of deal. If you're having trouble with these spiral staircases, again, very recommended that you try out the Katya's Builder Toolkit add-on. There's a lot of tutorials out. I've got one or two myself, I think, in some of my older videos that will show you how you can use that add-on to make stairs and other things a cinch. It basically does the math for you. And fun NPCs with the critters stuff. How they get past the boundary, I don't know. I always have trouble with that. I'm sure it's just certain items that lend themselves to going past the barrier like that, but this looks a little more swampy in this part here. Awesome jumping. Lovely pattern. This looks like some kind of a lab works, like maybe it's its own kind of reminiscent of the Elden thingies where you like port in and you go into another instance. That's what it reminds me of. But this could work in a chapel, church, cathedral kind of thing, or a mall that has some kind of beautiful design here. I think this is so pretty. And all it is datascape windows. It's the same window, the green and the red. It's just been recolored for the red part. Um, but the overlapping, the choice of how it was laid out. We've seen a few similar ones. I think, I can't remember their name now, but it was like a resort where you went and had like massage and they had some steam rooms and things like that. And they had this really beautiful uh, like flower pattern in one place in the garden. And that's what this reminds me of. It's so pretty. And then this part here, it's one of those, it's a taurine piece, I think. But I can't remember what's called. I want to say it's not furnace, the forge maybe, and they're just using a piece of it and then making it look like this floral thingy. So it's like this is one piece, and so they've just rotated it around to make this nice little pattern. So pretty. And again, it's just an experiment as far as people finding ways to make patterns with certain objects. I mean, you could do that with a plushie probably and still make something pretty out of it. Okay, so this, yeah, this out here more swampy to me. You see how close to the edge we are, like right up on it. There's a strange little hut thing going on there. Let me see if I can. I don't know if it's actually past the barrier or if I can get to it. This is made with thorny log piles and some overgrowth. Looks like a little swamp monster here. Creepy. This plant actually is animated. You can click it so that it closes. It's kind of like a Venus flytrap type of deal. Some people like that. At least to the barrier. Real close to the wall here. So if I click it, I'm inside. Fun little items, interactables in that regard. Have the little swamp monster there. I've no doubt there's probably a few things that I'm missing as we go through, but hopefully I locate most of it for your guys' viewing pleasure. These viney parts here, that's the back of the ruby-eyed thinker head. And we see that a lot in a lot of jungle type bits because of the viney, mossy bits that that particular item already has kind of built into it. So it lends itself well to that kind of building. You're looking for viney, mossy bits. Got some shrooms on the top. A lot of people like use it for hills and such. Maddie and Siskwe and Severion and a lot of the ones that really go all out with their landscape uh, have fun with that particular item. It's a craftable, and I want to say it's kind of a costly thing to craft, but if you can manage it, it really works out great. Trying not to get too far away from the second plot here. So a nice little cavey feature here, going around in a circle. Sorry about flashing back and forth with the maps, but that's just helps me orient myself. I know I have the little mini map up there, but not as handy for me. Okay, we'll go this way now, I think. The little strain guy, that's pretty creepy. Notice he's got the little blop down below. Again, that's the eye splotch, but they've just got it turned over so you don't see the eye. But I thought that was kind of, again, clever for a swamp monster kind of deal going on. Back around this way. Now this, I think, is supposed to be reminiscent of the portals in like Celestion and stuff, I guess. You can pass through it. Nothing happens, obviously, but it's one of those screens you can get from a decor pack on the cash shop. It comes with multiple colored ones. But I thought it was a clever idea of using uh, gnarled roots as like the little doorway and then having that pretend it's some kind of a portal to another place. Kind of off path here. Get back to this bridge here. And so that was the little gazebo thing. Those plants there are pretty solid. Keep hitting them. And then, of course, the little wedding is over here, the carrot wedding. So we're kind of back to where we were. Here we have another little house thing. Now, again, I couldn't find an entrance to the actual, what I suspect is probably the bunker house. They've just built this house themselves. It's a 2x4s. Notice this. The way the 2x4s are actually relatively flat, but they've managed to make it look like it's sloped a bit. Just the way the angle they did it and how they've got it intermittent. Some are longer than others. It's a nice little Orin-y type roof. The other parts are just Orin windows. And then, of course, the curved walls lend itself to the shape, curvy shape. On open. They have a small little kitchen area, dining, bedroom here, bathroom. Similar setup to the previous that we saw. Little living room place. Pretty straightforward, but I love the look of it, especially this roof. I think a lot of people have trouble with roofs and how to handle them, and you can see it's a little messier from the inside, but I'm sure if you're clever and have the decor space to allot for it, you could find ways of covering that up with some kind of a light fixture or some other deal. I still love it. I love the shape of that, especially. This here would be the entrance to this particular plot if you came in as just for the individual plot itself. Come in on this little cave area. Again, a lot of people cover that platform up as best they can. There are a few threads in the housing subforum and the official forums if you want to kind of learn what items work for that particular setup. Generally speaking, it has to be either an item that has absolutely no collision, which would be like a lot of our bushes and grasses, um, flowers, some of them, or an item that's considered hollow. And I do this because there are some that you would think are hollow, but they aren't, and others that aren't, or you would think they wouldn't be, and they are, like in particular, like the stone. This is the gray stone. If you size it up enough and turn it just so, it's considered hollow. But if you use the sandstone of the same item, the sandstone version, that one's considered solid. So it's a lot of just experimentation on your part as far as what items work. I think on my ProtoStar mall, I'm using an upside down shade Deve lamp or light pole fixture thingy. And I'm using the bottom of it, and for whatever reason, that particular piece behaves as if it's hollow. Um, some of the hover part pieces work. There's just an odd variety of pieces that will behave a certain way that will allow you to cover this up, and others they simply don't. I don't think there's any really rhyme or reason as far as what's picked and what isn't. There's some skywalks up ahead. Make sure we don't miss them. Okay, so that was the house we went into. This leads us to this little kind of water feature, waterfalls, pool kind of thing. Got the little tiki bar here. Again, it's the tiki bars with the tiki roofs. Using it both as a countertop and the shelving in the back. Got the beach chairs or the lounge chairs, however you want to call them. It's just uh, decking pieces. And then some two pillars for the legs. Like 3 decking pieces per chair and then the pillars. We've seen a good variety of these kind of styles, just using different, we've seen some use the divider walls, some use the just 2 by 4s, hover part pieces, some of the flat floor bits. Um, Probably get away with using the fireworks crate top. I like this, the little inflatable floaties. For the donut, it's just the purple pillows, and then you got the sleeping bag for the flat one. Again, waterfalls being used for the water, give it some motion, and it just looks really pretty. Animation is awesome. Don't know how else to say that. See the blinky arrows, so I'm going to follow the blinky arrow. Take us to the upper area. You see the roof here, it's multiples of those windows. Not as easy to tell from down below. Another great screenshot area here. Combination of decking, railing, and just floors. Thorny logs again, piles and singles. This little overlook. You could have like a little guild meeting up here, or just book club, something. This part here, I think is supposed to be like a buzzbing honeycomb hivey thing going on. I believe it's just orange windows being used for the honeycomb part, with some of the crystal formations to kind of give it a little bit more solid look to it, as if it's kind of just scooped onto this mangrove tree. A lot of windows to make this pretty pattern. Go to this one. Another airship here. Just another look. There's the beach coolie kind of thing we saw below. Again, it's the two pieces. I forget what this is called, some kind of compressor deal. And then they've got the little windmill, and it looks like they got a smaller one here. But again, notice how it stays stationary, and this is the only moving piece. It's kind of a little weird. It's kind of like the Protostar little shop that kind of moves, and then if you put an NPC in it, the NPC is like stone stiff, and it just looks weird because the shop is moving, but he isn't. And so you can't put anything on the shelves because the shelf pieces move, but the things on the shelves wouldn't, and it's just kind of odd. So again, it lends itself to the idea that it's like a little, not Zeppelin because it's airship thing, but it reminds me of the ones in World of Warcraft where they, different ones take you to different areas. But again, gives you a good look. Some of the scenery, the little swamp guy, and Amazing what people can put together on their plots. And within the limit, I get the same limit as everybody else, but I never can put this much. I mean, I apparently I am, but I don't know, they're able to fill it out so much better. So again, great little sky areas to take some nice screenshots and stuff. And here we're entering the third plot. If we cross over, we're not going to do just yet because I want to make sure we see all of this part first. Entering the third plot already. And lovely little bar thing. I like this here. Got the two. It's all nice and snug. Two pillows on there. Cozy little bar thing. This is a great view of the ice wall that splits. It's actually a line that goes all the way across between the top two uh, the plots of this community and the bottom three. And from my quick look at it yesterday, there's two entrances that I know of, like a main one, and then there's one that's kind of a little hidden. There may be others, but those are the ones that I noticed. Okay, let me backtrack again. Trying not to get too far into this, and I think I'm going in further. I'm not the wrong way, I think. That way, towards the honeycomb. That again, I'm trying not to miss uh, as much as I can. I want to show us all of the bits to the best of my ability. So backtrack a little bit and make sure we didn't see anything down below. I really like this whole idea. And it's something new and different. It's interesting. And that doesn't mean, you know, you can only build things that someone else has never built. Because again, like for example, like cars or other types of vehicles, we've seen multiples of like the hover bikes and the tanks and things like that. Every single one of them clearly different. Some of them use similar pieces, but it's always an interesting take on it. So it's not that you have to come up with a solidly original idea, but it does help to kind of go, "Ooh, I've never seen that before." But you know, I also like seeing things like, I mean, we've seen a lot of beach things, but like here's like um, oh, what do you call it? The lifeguard chair. Um, Most of them tend to use just the ladders, but this is actually the mop handles with some 2x4s in the front with a little chair on the top. You know, just a little different. It's the same item, but it's just played a little differently. Here we have a little water tube to go down. Cool. A little bit shallow pool, but maybe it's for the kitties or something. I love the landscaping though, with all of the bushes and stuff, and the like glarus flowers and the stones. It's just it looks so like it came that way, not as if it was built piece by piece by someone. People do such a great job of that kind of stuff. Amazing to me. Yeah, just bear with me as I kind of wander through here, sure we didn't miss anything. You can see how they've like embedded the crystals all in that. I think this is just below the honeycomb here. Yeah, okay, I think we've got all of the second one covered now. We move on to the third. Don't know if there's like a specific route I'm supposed to take or what. Probably just going at it all sorts of backwards, but I don't want to go back up into the treetops just yet. So this one's kind of, it's called Paradise. This is actually Bubbles Starborn's plot, who I believe is the main creator or the only creator of this entire community. This reminds me more of kind of like a ruins that has just been built on top of by a group to make it livable, like they have the garden and stuff, but it feels more ruiny, if that makes sense. You can see they've got a lot of the fab kits. They've got the little pool fab kit here and the garden, and I think there's a couple other things. And then there is the, I believe it's the Grannock house here. There's the Hugel hedge, I think is what it's called. Oh, come on. Not like in an open space, it doesn't want to properly. Said I didn't want to go up, but it looks like I'm going up anyway. Yeah, I think this is that bar area that we were in, where I'm going to double check, make sure that we didn't miss any. I think that's where we were before. Yeah, because that was the overlook for the, okay, so we've been there. So here's like one of the airships like in progress going off to the next little stop. Then we have this little top here. Like a little library. Just like a treetop, call it marketplace, maybe? Oh, this one. Ooh, I feel like I'm just deja vu going back in this spot. I don't think we went this way because I was hesitant to cross over. These parts, I honestly don't know what those come from. I want to say it's maybe from the same place that the Chua totems come from, but I have absolutely no idea. They're pretty cool and intimidating looking, but that's about all I can tell you. Now, I love this part here where they've got all this overgrowth in the shrubbery, and then they've added in those orange colored, like Galaris flowers. Not quite like roses, like a rose bush kind of thing going on. It's still pretty. So again, multiples of the tiki bars and the piles of hay for like a little thatching top. Cozy little house here. Probably the most interesting part to me is the fireplace. It's that tiki face again. Instead of the TV slammed in it, they've just got some framed glass and the fire pit here. I think that's a super interesting way of using that item as a fireplace. Again, big fave, mushing the chairs up to make it a little longer, like a love seat kind of thing. Just a little overlook, I guess. Give you a nice view of other areas. See how that ivy is not ivy, but well, maybe it is, but that's what it reminds me of, just a string of growth with the little flowers dotted here and there. Okay, find my way back down. All right, Poi, thank you for staying as long as you did, and hope to see you next week. Have fun until then. In theory, I could probably just jump down, but I prefer not. Sometimes when I run back through a certain area, I might see something that I didn't see the first time we went through, and back over there. Did I miss? Yeah, I went right by it, didn't I? Okay, go. Looking for the way down. There's a way to get stuck on a path. I will find it. Where I get stuck on just a little twig sticking out. Embarrassing. Shameful, really. Okay, back down where we came up the first time. As you can see, there's the main house here. We'll be going inside. This comes from the underwater decor pack, I believe. The fencing here, that's from the Winterfest uh, event. And again, I think these little Tua statues are from that same pack as either surfboards or the underwater stuff. So this is the interior of the, I guess it's the spacious Grannock house. You can see they've got a little cozy nook here. It's actual benches, the Pell benches, with I think 2x4s to kind of finish it off, and then of course the pillows. Little side room here turned into a like a man cave with bar and everything. Back here is a little kitchen area. This here, that's that Dominion cryopod thing. It's the one that a lot of people like to use as doors. It has both handles that you can use on the front, and then the back side is that little round, well, not round, but like an oval type shape that people like to use for like doors in their spaceports and stuff. Big fave. Looks like they're mostly showing off their plushie collection and poster collection. Posters down below. I love this part here, the little glass case for this rose. It's just unframed glass, and then they've just kind of layered it in a bit. It's actually open at the very tip top, but you can kind of imagine that it isn't. Like a really nice glass case there. Don't know what they're using for the little divider here. Okay, it looks like some doors. Just a little strange. Oh, okay, wait a minute. I think it's the door down below that's been opened. They probably didn't notice that that would show up if I left it open from below. I think that's what it is. So I was like, wow, that looks a little weird. That's what happens when you open the door. Yeah, I can see it's poking out here. I don't think that's supposed to be the case. You don't see this one too often, the little Valentine pillow that's come from the Valentine decor kit. Includes this lovely little bed, and there's a couple plushies, I think. A stem dragon, the Yeti here. There's a stem dragon there. Cutesy, but not my cup of tea to spend too much on those. I would have preferred to have like where you could like unlock it and then like get multiples of the pillows because I like the ruffles on the pillows, but not enough to buy multiples of the pack just for the pillows. Okay, so let me double check here. Like here's this little garden. I think this is the party fab kit, or maybe it's the date night one. But I think they added this part here. I think this is player built part here, the little gazebo. And Google Hinge. Over here, these are those Alpha Sanctum stones. Again, if you do the Alpha Sanctum instance, complete it, you get one of these stones straight up, and then it unlocks the other stones, including the one that you get, and unlocks those in the housing vendor for you. So then you can purchase the rest. And this here would be where you would enter this individual plot. Again, they got another one of those little portal thingies going on. Let's see. Go through here, this little cave thing. Now, these little totems and stuff, again, I think it's the same place where you get the Chua bits. Well, I think that's where all of these little totems and creepy faces are coming from. Kind of strange little altar deal going on. Waterfalls, and then looks like she's crying. And then back to the garden. Oh, it's just a little cave structure. These really blend really well. Unless you're mousing over it to see the green light up, you know, it's very easy to miss. This looks like a little treasure room. Lots of crystal formations. If you're wondering about the glowing light that kind of dims and gets stronger, that's coming from the Lop Shrine. This piece here, that's what that roof in that one room where the datascape windows made the flower pattern, and then we looked up at the roof. What this is. I think it's an anvil or forge thingy. I don't remember. Or ring piece. Okay. Okay, we're entering back into the what I call the communal part. Just the no man's land that surrounds the. I think you get like 5,000 decor limit for just this negative space in between the plots. Sounds like a pretty big number, but this is kind of creepy because it's basically multiples of those base diorama uh, platforms or boxes, and they've turned it into like this little space scene. So you have like a little alien in his spaceship, and the planets. Kind of trippy looking at it. Get up here so you can see the little space guy better. It's just one of those protostar platform thingies, and then it's got the, I think it's the snow globe, and they've stuck it in there, a little NPC inside it. And that's like one of those desert plants, I think. And then for the smoke effects on the ship, the ship comes as is, but the smoke effects are from the blue flares. This little staircase stepping area, that's the technophage platforms, and then you got the technophage door. Here we have like kind of a far side feel. Like a terminite thing. That's where those vines are coming from. I think we had somebody asking about those. The last plot we visited had those from the terminite pit. Uh, you could probably recolor those and make it more jungle vines kind. Clean. Yeah, a little creepy, but fun use of those custom built portal windows to kind of make you, I think it's supposed to represent that you've been teleported to a off planet area. I think that's kind of interesting. And we've got some little huts here. The doctor is in. Little moody, I think he's called a surgeon. Again, color shifting, really helpful. We've got a few variety of bottles, but uh, if you're needing more, the color shifting really helps kind of broaden the look. And then another little buzzbing area. Got the honey works here. The honeycomb little bits as well. And lots of the buzzbing NPC critters here and there. And I guess this is where they like the buzzbings come in and I don't know, get siphoned or something. And then I think this is supposed to represent the honey, and then they bottle it up for consumption. I'm really guessing here. I have no idea. Maybe they're making some kind of honey flavored alcohol, honey infused. I have absolutely no clue. But most of the structure here is decking pieces, some archways and stuff. The piping, I think, is technophage tubes, some kind. It's been recolored to that funky yellow. And like this here, I think that's the bottom of a glass with the feeding trough. And like here, they've got the honey bit. It's all like one piece. This whole bit, part of it. But I think they tack this on. I want to say that's the dreg windmill or dreg mill or something along those lines. And I think that's most of this area here. Yeah, see how they put the glasses to give it a little bit shiny, like it's filled with the honey. And we hear it making a little drip. I think it's a glass with the beer in it, the filled glass. So I think we have empty and a filled, and I think it's the filled one because it has more of that coppery brown color to it. These plants here, I think those are part of the underwater. Yeah, that leaves us with the two winter plots. And I think we will go ahead and see if we can squeeze those in. I think I got about a half hour. I don't know. Maybe I should save it for tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll just do a stream tomorrow morning. I think there's a little bit here that we catch. Little Moody Village, I think. Little camp here, and then this side you've got the little Moody headhunters or whatever dancing and people soup or something. Yeah, I think we'll wrap up for today and then finish up the tour tomorrow. Again, if you can't join us tomorrow and are looking forward to seeing the rest of this, all of my videos, all of the streams that we do go straight to YouTube. So if you can't make it, or if you've missed any of our previous shows, you can always catch up there. We've got hundreds and hundreds of videos of different, hundreds and hundreds of plots. Yeah, I hope you guys had fun today. And thank you guys for those of you that joined us in the chat. And Hopefully, it helps inspire you to some future build of your own, or at least get you to play the game, because what you see here, while it's custom built, it's out of the imagination of the builder itself. A lot of it reflects what they see in game. There's especially this one in particular. It's very reminiscent of some of the open world areas that are actually in the game, like Celestion and Solaris and White Veil and such. So yeah, if you like the look of this, even if it's a little on the cartoony side, then definitely take the time to check it out. Even if you played before, a lot of things have changed. You might be surprised at how much, and hopefully you get interested in it again. But yeah, that's it today, guys. Hope you had fun. See you tomorrow, possibly. If not, maybe next week. In the meantime, good luck with whatever you're working on, and I hope you have a great weekend. See you later. Bye bye.